Hello folks, Junkie Rock 13 here. Everything vaping related, it's Junkie Rock 13. Here bringing you another review of the Sturm Mod in the Sturminator Carto Tank. This is version 2 Sturm Mod. Let's take a look, see what I think, see how she vapes. Let's get to it. Okay, I'm gonna start off with the Sturminator. The Sturminator is a stainless steel tank that was made for the Sturm Mod, but can also be used with anything else because you're using a basic cartomiser. It's made out of stainless steel. It is 18 millimeters wide in diameter, and it holds about 3.5 milliliters of e-liquid. The main section of the tank is the outer shell is stainless steel, and the inner liner is an actual, I'm hoping you can see that line in there, it is an actual syringe that was cut up and used for the inner liner. Okay, and the caps are made out of stainless steel. It has a little bevel on the top there, just a little tiny bevel, sort of like the Smoke Tech and the other DCT Cartomiser tanks. O-ring on the outside, O-ring on the inside. And I have a standard Bogue, standard size, low resistant Bogue Cartomiser, punched with 3 holes that I punched with the Tiny Mite Carto punch tool from electronicsticks.com. Now I am going to use this little Smoke Tech Carto tool, filling tool, and I'm going to put that on here as if it was a drip tip because the ends seem to slide over that sharp edge a little bit better. So I am going to put this on the Cartomiser real quick. Actually, let me put this one on here. This one seemed to be fitting better on the bottom. Okay, and I'm just gonna put the end nice and flush with the bottom. Put this in the tank tube, and now I can fill it up with my e-liquid. Okay, I just have some RAR 50/50 razzmatazz, very little left. I figured I'd fill up my last tank with it, and I'm just gonna fill it up, not all the way because I'm gonna give it enough room for the top cap. Okay, now sliding this down on the sharp edge from the Cartomiser is not going to catch on the O-ring, I hope. Okay, now I am gonna just put this down onto the table and push right down, and there we go. I actually pushed the tank all the way down, but there we go. Let me just wipe 2 little drops up, and there is the Sturminator. Now I can take out this and put in my drip tip. Okay, so there is the Sturminator. Okay, here we go. This is the Sturm Mod version 2. I'm going to start off with the top section. Okay, and you'll notice that it is a 510 connection. Okay, and there is a Phillips head screw in there that is adjustable for your positive post, which is nice, so you don't have to pull your post on your devices. The threading on this is very nice, fine, very well machined. Inside here we have a clear piece of, I am not sure, maybe acrylic. And there is a, what I believe, a stainless steel piece in here that acts as your positive connector. And there's an O-ring that is lodged in between the stainless steel tube outer section and the acrylic piece in there. This is a different part from the version 1. I cannot comment too much on version 1 because I do not have version 1. I did not own version 1, but I do know that a few people did have some issues with this portion of the Sturm Mod, and it has been updated, and I have had no issues with it as far as I've owned this device. Okay. Now, although one more thing I wanted to add, there are some slots for vent slots on the 510 connection, but what you'll notice is that where the slots are, there is an outer rim on this that is totally flush with this area in here. So if you do have a VV Nova tank that lays flush with this, you will have to raise up your positive post a little bit so you can bring it right up off the device to allow airflow to go in and out. Okay, now the next portion is the top portion of the telescopic piece, which will attach right to that section right there. And you'll notice that there is a vent hole right up on top where it is rightfully placed, because if a battery is gonna vent, it will vent out of the positive side of the battery. A lot of people put vent holes down in the bottom, and normally when the battery swells up inside a device, it will not let any of the gases leak out the bottom. So properly venting a device on top is the right place to place that vent hole. Now let's discuss the switch. The bottom portion will hold the switch and will attach like so. Now a 14500 or a 14650 battery can be used with this device, but I'm going to put the switch together before I put it totally together. This bottom ring is your locking ring. It's all made out of stainless steel, nice fine threads. I'm going to place it onto this section right here. Okay, you notice that there is a hole on there. I'm always bad with the camera positioning. Okay, now I'm going to put this little switch together. Now this is a brass connector. It is a flathead screw. This is what's going to be making contact with the negative portion of the battery. So I am going to take my trusty little needle nose, grab it right there, and position it down this tube right into that hole in there. It's kind of hard to see when you're not directly over it. Okay, now I am going to hold it in there with my pinky just so I can put this switch together. This is the bottom portion of the switch, nice little beveled ends. Okay, the screw fits right in there in the middle. Now the spring is another different piece on version 2. The spring on the other one was a shorter and wider at the bottom. This one is more tapered and kind of looks like the smoke tip filling tool. Wider at the bottom, thinner at the top. Okay, now let me put this in here. I'm gonna put the spring on there just like that. Okay. And push down and just give it one turn so I can make some connection there. Now I will take my screwdriver, put it in there, make sure it is in the slot there, and just tighten this on. Totally tight. Okay, there is the mechanical switch on the Sturm Mod. Very nice and function. Now this switch does have a short throw, fires all the time. The locking switch, open it up all the way, now it will not fire. Okay, and we also have a nice thick O-ring that will be placed at the bottom of the device. Okay, let me just show you why. I'm gonna bring in a 14500 EH battery. Okay, it is a 600 milliamp hour, 3.7 IMR battery. Now what this is gonna do, the O-ring is gonna sit at the bottom of the device. Okay, right here on the battery. And this little space in here, okay, that didn't work. The little space right here to touch the negative, come in the camera, the little space that's going to touch the negative right there is going to be the little space where that bottom screw is going to be able to push up. I know some of you already know how these switches work. I'm just showing the people that don't know. Okay, so I'm going to put that O-ring down in the bottom, the battery right on there, and then connect the Sturm Mod. Now it is telescopic, okay, but a lot of people with telescopic devices really hate when they have to change batteries because they have to unscrew it all the way. But the Sturm version 2 device is not like that. You don't have to keep on screwing. You only have to take off the top piece if you want to change the battery, which is nice, okay? So that's one really nice feature that I like about the Sturm Mod. Okay, so now I'm going to bring in the Sturminator and show you what it looks like all together. Okay. Let me take that wrench out of the way. There is the Sturm Mod fully assembled with the Sturminator. Let's see how she vapes and see what I think about it. Okay, so there you have it. There is the Sturminator in the version 2 Sturm Mod. Sturm Mod is a stainless steel telescopic device that can use the 14500 and the 14650. I don't have any 14650 batteries, so I cannot show you how it looks with those batteries in it. But with the 14500, it looks nice. But one thing I will say is a negative is the time of use for a 14500 battery. I knew that going in, so I accept it. The 14500 battery usually gets me around 4.5 to 5 hours of vape time, depending on how I'm vaping. So I usually have to take an extra battery with me when I am bringing this battery or this device out with me. I do like that it has a locking switch mechanism, so if I put it in my pocket, it's not going to fire with it open or with it Yes, open. Okay. The threading on this is smooth, really smooth. I really like the machining done on this device. It's a nice, classy little 14500 device. It's small. Okay, looks really nice with the Sturminator on it. I'm not a real big Cartomiser guy or Cartomiser tank guy. When I do use Cartomiser tanks, it's usually at nighttime when I'm going to bed, because I usually take a device, or I take a device to bed with me every night, and I usually take it and set it behind the pillow. So I do sleep with the device under my pillow. But if I brought a Genesis tank with me, it's going to leak all over the place. Sometimes I fall asleep with it in my hands, and I'm going to wake up with a pool of juice on my chest. With the Cartomiser tank, it's not going to leak if I tip it upside down or if it's under the pillow. So I do use Cartomiser tanks every day, I guess. I use this one often when I when I use it at nighttime, because this tank does not slip or slide at all on the Cartomiser. It has a tight fitting O-ring in there, so it is not going to slide. It looks nice on the Sturm Mod, and I love stainless steel. I really do. I like the way it looks. I like the way it feels. I was kind of impressed with the Sturm Mod because it fires every time. It's nice and sturdy, and they are not that expensive. A lot of devices have been really pricey lately, and I understand making devices in small batches, why they are so pricey. I do get that, but this is a nice quality device for a reasonable price. So, I mean, the machining is great. Let me show you how it vapes one more time. Of course, that is the juice and the Cartomiser doing all the work to perform the vapor, the throat hit, and the flavor. Now the flavor and the vapor is going to be a little bit less than Genesis style atomizers because it's a Cartomiser. I do think Cartomisers has its place in the vaping community. A lot of people use Cartomisers. I used Cartomisers for a long time, and I still do. So, that being said, I like the Sturm Mod. I like the Sturminator. I think it is a good buy. And if you think about looking one up for yourself, you will need to go over to Vaporwall and look up the member Sturm. I will leave a link to his thread that he has a list for these. You do have to join a list to get these devices. But I don't think the wait was that long. But he will get back to you, and he ships them out rather fast after you make the payment. So, folks, this is the Sturm Mod and the Sturminator version 2. Check them out. Take care, be good to one another, and keep on vaping.